I am so excited about today's video, and I'm going to break down if I were to do your hair, the steps that I go through in regards to a consultation, how I come up with the haircuts I'm going to do. And I've been doing this for 30 plus years. I've worked on thousands of clients over my career. So if you are a client watching this, you're probably going to find this very helpful because my process may be very different than what you're currently experiencing. And if you're a hair professional, especially if you are new in the industry, this is going to be game changing for you. And I have a few different hairstyles here that I'm going to just show you my approach on them so that you really get a lot of value from this video. So the first thing I typically do when a client comes in, and just so you know, I'm retired from clients. I know you're probably like, oh no, and I'm so sorry, but I retired from seeing clients. If you are in New Jersey, I have one guy who I send people to predominantly for women's haircuts up in northern New Jersey. And he's the one guy who I send a lot of people to. So if you want more of that, like, kind of layered haircuts like this, traditional stuff, or longer layers, or like the Lisa Rinna, I get so many requests for that. I do have a guy in northern Jersey who I refer clients to as far as women's haircuts go. You can send me, an email, go to my website on my contact us page, and I'll give you the name of the individual and where he works. So typically what I would do is I have the client come in, and this is the same process for if I've been doing someone's hair for a long time. However, there is a slightly more in-depth process if they're new to me. So if a client comes to me and I've been doing the hair for years and years and years, and typically, we have the same kind of traditional haircut we do, the same process, I'll sit them down while their hair is fully dry, right? I don't just have them go back and get their hair washed. I want to know what the hair looks like at its dry state, the way it's styled, how it's grown out. I'm already analyzing those things. So the client will come in, sit down, we do all the hellos, how's everything, and all right, let me take a look at your hair. What I'm doing is I'm analyzing how the haircut grew out. Now, because my clients were used to how good my haircuts grew out based off of how I would cut them, we're all used to it. I say, man, your hair looks phenomenal. And they always say, well, dude, it's because you cut my hair, man. Your haircuts grow out so good, dude. It's all you. I'm like, yeah, I've been hearing that for years. I'm very, very fortunate that they say that. But I would say, all right, everything cool. Like the hair looks good. Are we going, last time we went a little shorter. Do you like that? Or what do you think? I'll always kind of just go over what we're doing, whether it's a slight tweak, whether it's the same. And then once that's established, I get started with the process. So that's pretty much if it's a client who I've been seeing for a long time. And if you are a new stylist or even a new barber, you want to always establish what you're doing, even if it's the same thing, because they, by communicating, they may want to tweak something. Or what I did this last time, have a mental database of what you've done. I did this last time to your hair. Remember I thinned it out a little bit more. Did you like that? Oh, it was beautiful. And you'll be able to tell by how it grew out. Again, that's the difference between, I'm a premium and I was a premium haircut price. When you're charging, well over $100, $150 for your haircuts, you got to really add that value to the haircut. So always check in and establish what you're doing. Now, let's take this to a whole other ball game. When I would get clients who would come in and see me based off of watching my YouTube videos or a referral or somebody who was like, Salon Guy, I traveled, and I've had people fly in from, internationally and hours just to get a haircut from me. Same process goes, I sit the client down. And the first thing that I do is I would take control of the situation, and let's change to a different mannequin. Let's go to this mannequin right here, right? I would take control of the situation by simply saying, thank you, Tom, for coming in, or thank you, Melissa, whoever the client is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually analyze your hair, and if there's anything that I suggest, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, look at this and give you some sort of suggestion based off of what I'm looking at, right? And kind of give you an analysis. Does that sound good? Yeah, sure. I mean, they want that, right? So I will then, at that point, while I'm saying that, I will start to analyze what their hair is and what it's doing, right? What I need to do. So while I'm saying that, I'm feeling and I'm running my finger through their hair and I'm looking for things. And majority of the time, what's happening is I'm already seeing trouble. I'm literally troubleshooting, but I'm seeing things that are either uneven. I'm seeing things that I'm like, oh, this looks a little bit odd. Like I'm already looking for things that I either need to fix or suggestions of what I would be doing to their hair. So I'm analyzing, and most of the times when someone would come into me for the first time, it's simply because they had a really bad haircut or their hair is not doing what it needs to do. And that's all based off of a simple haircut, right? I mean, a simple haircut fix. And it's because of uneven layers or things aren't, balanced properly or whatever. So I then start to say, well, based off of what I'm seeing here, it looks like, some of your layers are a little bit unbalanced. It's not laying properly because the hair is really heavy here. This is a lot longer than it should be. There's some, the shaping is a bit off. So the last haircut, unfortunately, created this type of shape. And I think in order to really strengthen this up and give you a much better haircut technically, I need to do this. And a lot of it is really just cleaning this up and reshaping it so that your hair just looks really, really how it should. How does that sound? And by that point, they haven't said one word. I've taken control of the entire consultation. And at that point, I'm literally just telling them what I would suggest based off of my expertise. Usually they're like, yes, that sounds good. Yeah, my hair's not laying properly. I like the length. I like everything. It's just something is off. That's like 90% of the appointments that have come to me for the first time. It's always because something's off from a previous haircut that I need to reshape. Once I reshape the haircut, then the magic happens. Oh my gosh, my hair looks phenomenal. And then it's like, okay, I'll see you in like 2 months or 3 months, however long. And then I close out the consultation, the haircut, the whole experience, and they leave. Now, if it's somebody, say, let's just say a makeover job, well, here is another example. Let's just say, this is a client who's come in for the first time, and he's saying, I've been wearing my hair kind of like this style that's kind of parted the middle. It doesn't really have much shape. I've been wearing my hair like this for 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. I just feel like I'm due for something new. I don't know what I want to do. Can you help me out here? Like, what do you suggest? I then do the same thing. I'll say, okay, well, I'm going to look at your hair, analyze it, see kind of the way it flows, what we got going on here, the density, and what options we have, and I'll suggest something that's new. So right away, I'll start to kind of work the hair in, and I'm going to immediately change up what he's already doing, right? I'm going to kind of work my hands in the hair. I'm going to start to kind of mold it and shape it and put it in a style that he's never had before, or even she's never had before. And I'm looking to see how the hair is reacting to what my hands are doing. And most of the time, I'll be able to tell just within 10 seconds or so of, how quickly I can create a style, where the thickness is, the amount of hair I have to work with, the flexibility and options that I have as far as creating a shape, the length I need to cut it. How is the hair falling? Is it really heavy? Is it falling flat all the time? So based off of my experience, I'm already putting the pieces of the puzzle together so that I can then present an option to the client. Then what I'll do is I'll say, okay, so I think I'm going to want to create a look that is a bit more of that modern, messy look, which is something that it's going to be a bit more youthful, but still professional. It's less maintenance. It's something that really would work well for your hair because your hair tends to want to grow forward. And in this situation, you don't have to worry about like brushing the hair back. If anything, all you have to do is, wash your hair, dry it, and try to mess it up, put some product in it, and we're going to go for that kind of textured, messy, more modern look. I think it's going to be a great look for you. You've got great hair for it. I'm going to cut this in a way that it grows out really well. We do have some options as far as how short you want to go throughout the sides. We can, use clippers, and I can do like a number, 2 guard. I can take this down a little bit shorter, and nothing extreme like my hair, but I could take this down where it has a nice gradual taper and blend, and it really flows into the top, and you've got a nice style. You can also slick it back over with some product if you want, but it's going to be much cleaner. It's going to really add some nice modern looks to your hair. It's going to actually make you look a little bit younger. And be careful, because you're going to get hit on every 5 minutes with this new haircut. All right. So I try to just joke around and make them feel comfortable. So that's if somebody has had the same type of hairstyle for a very, very, very long time. And then the next one is, I've gotten this, I've had numerous clients who've had very, very long hair, especially if they're a guy. I then start to analyze their hair, and I'll say, well, do you want to keep your hair long? Yes, I do. Well, what don't you like about your hair right now? Well, I don't like how it's just so flat, but I don't want to have like a lot of pieces showing all over the place. So that means that they don't want a lot of layers. They're just looking for something a bit softer to make this lighter around the face. Do you still want to be able to pull this back all the way? Is having your hair in a ponytail really important to you? Yes. Well, then I say, well, if we create some shape in the front, I have to leave it long enough to it still goes back. But I think a good option would be to add a little bit of face framing into here to kind of soften this up right into the front, so that when you wear your hair back, and even if you scrunch it a little bit, it's going to add some shape and some light texture to it by adding some longer layers, so you're not seeing a lot of shorter pieces up here. So I will implement some layering. It'll be more in the lower half of the haircut, and it's just going to add a little more looseness to your hair, so it's not so flat, and it feels like it has more, and looks like it has more life to it. How does that sound? Oh, it sounds great. And then we'll go ahead and do it. So, this is basically how I would approach if I was doing your hair. And again, depending on where you're going, there's a strong chance you may not be experiencing this level of consultation. How do you get that level of consultation? Well, if you're going to a place where they're charging a more premium price, if they're, you could always call up and the salon or barbershop and say, how long are haircut appointments? If they're like, oh, they're half an hour, I would book an hour minimum for my haircuts, men and women. And sometimes I'd cut someone's hair in a half an hour, a guy, and all right, that's fine. But I give myself that time, that cushion. Plus, they were tipping me like a lot of money anyway, so it made up for the time. However, I think like if you go on Google Maps, you look in your area for salons or barbershops with good ratings, look for individuals. If they're mentioning specific individuals' names, that's going to help you identify, well, maybe I should go to that person. That's really going to be helpful to you. And then what you can do is then base it off of that. Call the place, call the location. How long do they book for a haircut? How much do they charge? And if it's a more premium type of salon, you're most likely going to get that type of experience. I can't promise anything, but this was just an example of how I would do your hair, or how I approach clients over the years. And lastly, that took me a lot of years to actually learn how to do. It wasn't like right out of the gate after I graduated beauty school when I was working on clients, that was it. Like, it took me a long time to really understand the power of good communication, pairing that with my actual haircutting skills and the ability to troubleshoot within seconds. You have to really start analyzing the hair if you're a hair professional. You have a short, limited time. You don't want to spend 25 minutes on a consultation. You don't want to get in some sort of back and forth argument with the client. I've seen it. You want to really get down to what you need to do and then start cutting. This way, you really can spend all that time making their hair look phenomenal. Let me know if you found this video helpful. I have a full range of hair products for men and for women. I have hair tools. Shop.TheSalonGuy.com. And if you use code YouTube20, that's YouTube20, you get 20% off. And I also have an amazing rewards program that you can actually get points and money back and apply it to your purchases. So if you're a professional, I hope you enjoy this. And if you're a client, I hope you enjoy this. Let me know in the comments below. Please like the video and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.